At a busy urban hospital, a young black nurse staked her career to save a critically ill homeless man. Her heroic act led to her swift firing by a white administrator, who made no effort to hide his scorn. Unbeknownst to him, the man she saved was secretly planning a remarkable way to repay her, one that would upend the system that tried to crush her. Before we jump into this story, let us know where you're joining us from. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Please subscribe to our channel. We're building a community where kindness is our most cherished and honored word.
Nia Thompson clutched her tattered clipboard, her nurse's shoes tapping faintly against the gleaming tiles of Unity Medical Center. In her mid-20s, with deep mahogany skin and tired brown eyes, she looked worn out. Her frame sagged under the weight of a brutal 16-hour shift. Exhaustion seeped into her muscles, heavy in her bones. Faint shadows lingered beneath her eyes, and a few stray curls had escaped her tight ponytail, framing her fatigued face. It was just past midnight. The hospital corridor loomed quiet and unsettling, lit by the stark glow of fluorescent lights. The steady hum of monitors drifted from patient rooms. Nia let out a heavy sigh, her exhaustion not just physical but soul-deep. Unpaid rent and her mother's growing medical bills, written in dense text, sat untouched on her small kitchen counter. Every shift was a battle, not just against illness, but against a system that quietly favored some over others. Nia knew the subtle slights all too well, the fleeting, dismissive glances and hushed whispers that faded as she passed her white colleagues. She saw the clear preference given to wealthy patients, while marginalized people waited endlessly, some collapsing in the lobby. She'd witnessed this cycle too often but refused to accept it. Nursing wasn't just a job. It was the result of years of grueling study and side gigs to fund her education, a calling to help others, and the only thing keeping her family from sinking. Her modest paycheck was her lifeline to care for her ailing mother and keep debt at bay. Each day highlighted the inequities she faced. Suddenly, a faint groan broke the silence, barely audible from near the entrance. Nia froze, her brow furrowing as she listened. A figure slumped against the glass doors. Her heart raced, a surge of adrenaline cutting through her fatigue. She hurried over. An older white man, his silver hair damp with sweat, lay crumpled. His face was ghostly pale, his breath shallow, his body trembling slightly. He clutched his chest, eyes half shut, lips quivering. "Help, please," he whispered, his voice faint. His worn jacket hung loosely over a stained shirt, signs of long-term neglect. Scuffed shoes and a stale odor suggested days without a proper wash. Beside him, a tattered wallet lay open, revealing a crumpled but valid insurance card. "Thomas Reed," Nia murmured, reading the card, her voice tight. Not again. A familiar dread settled in her gut. How many times would this happen? Then Ellen, the night receptionist, appeared, her blonde hair in a tight bun, her face expressionless. The sharp scent of her perfume irritated Nia's nose. Ellen's eyes flicked over Thomas, landing on the insurance card. "His coverage is suspended due to a billing dispute," she said coldly, her voice devoid of concern. "Hospital policy forbids admitting patients like this." Fury surged through Nia, her pulse pounding. Not again. She'd seen wealthy white patients rushed into care without question. Yet this man was being denied over paperwork. The system's bias was blatant. An invisible wall upheld by staff to maintain an unspoken divide. The memory of her younger brother, lost to delayed care, flashed in her mind. His pale face, his trusting eyes. That wound never healed. She wouldn't let it happen again. Not ever. But the weight of her choice loomed large. Defying policy could cost her job, her only means of supporting her mother, paying rent, and tackling her loans. Fear whispered warnings of ruin, urging her to stay safe. Yet a stronger force, her sense of justice, burned fiercer. Nia took a deep breath, her eyes resolute. "He needs care now," she said firmly to Ellen, her voice unwavering. Without waiting, she knelt, hoisting Thomas with her waning strength. His weight strained her, but her determination was heavier. She moved toward the emergency ward, Ellen's stunned face behind her. "You're breaking protocol, Miss Thompson. You'll be fired," Ellen shouted. A few staff members looked up, their faces a mix of shock and unease. A white coworker, Mark, stepped forward to block her, but Nia pushed past. "Move," she said, her voice low but fierce. Thomas's ragged breathing urged her on, her heart pounding. There was no turning back. Nia felt the crushing weight of injustice. Thomas wasn't at fault, a once successful man trapped in a system's red tape. Without care, he'd die. She radioed the on-call doctor, her voice urgent. Dr. Chun, suspected critical case at the main entrance. Valid insurance, but suspended due to a dispute. Immediate help needed. Dr. Chin arrived quickly, assessing Thomas. He's critical. Medical ethics and law demand immediate care. Insurance can wait, he said gravely. Get him to the ER. Nia and the team rushed Thomas inside. She helped stabilize him, administering fluids and easing his pain. The team ran tests, monitored vitals, and worked relentlessly. Sweat beaded on Nia's brow, her body exhausted, but every second was critical. As Thomas stabilized, she glanced at Ellen, her eyes defiant. She wasn't just fighting rules, she was battling a system steeped in prejudice. For Nia, no life was expendable. The next morning, tension hung thick at Unity Medical Center. Nia felt judgmental stares as she entered, heavier than her physical fatigue. She'd stayed up all night tending to Thomas, his every breath tying her to his survival. Only at dawn did relief nurses take over, allowing her to start another shift. Dread mixed with exhaustion, she knew what awaited. As expected, Charles Bennett, the hospital's director, stood ready. A white man with a cold demeanor. His icy eyes betrayed his contempt. Ellen's detailed report had reached him. Bennett summoned Nia to the bustling lobby. Not a private office, a clear power play. Ms. Thompson, he began, his voice sharp as a blade. Your actions last night violated hospital policy. We have Ellen's report and witness statements. This insubordination is unacceptable, especially from someone like you, who should be grateful for this job. He paused, a smug smirk forming as he scanned the crowd. In his mind, this was his moment to assert dominance. Bennett's worldview was shaped by his privileged upbringing, his father's words ringing in his ears. Success is for the worthy, Charles. The weak and lesser are trouble. Raised in a wealthy white family, he'd seen his father, a renowned surgeon, fend off a lawsuit from a marginalized family. Though victorious, the ordeal fueled Bennett's disdain for those who challenged the system. Unity, to him, was a fortress of order, not a place for reckless acts like Nia's. We're building a legacy of efficiency and prestige, he said coldly. You don't belong here. You're fired. His words turned venomous, revealing his bias. Unity is for those with discipline, intelligence, and the right background. The implication was clear. Nia felt his words like a punch, her ears ringing with anger and shame. Whispers from colleagues. Asterisk, she doesn't fit here. Just another troublemaker, asterisk. Cut deep. Ellen smirked triumphantly. White staff avoided her gaze, while black colleagues looked on with shared sorrow. Trapped in the same oppressive system. A tear threatened, but Nia swallowed it. I won't break, she vowed silently, her eyes blazing with defiance. Malik Jones, a kind black security guard, approached gently, offering quiet support as he escorted her out. Each step felt like sinking into a void. Years of sacrifice, studying, working endless jobs to earn her nurse's uniform, seemed to vanish. The hospital doors closed behind her, severing her dreams. In her small, dim apartment, Nia collapsed onto her worn bed, the air heavy with dampness. Shadows fell over her sparse belongings. Losing her job meant losing her ability to pay rent, buy her mother's medicine, or tackle her loans. Hunger gnawed, but she couldn't eat. Tears fell, but regret didn't. She closed her eyes, seeing Thomas's fading gaze and her brother's final moments. Hearing her mother's weak cough nearby. Those memories didn't break her, they fueled her. She'd done what was right, fighting for the overlooked. The pain was heavy, but her resolve burned brighter, unyielding in the face of despair. Days blurred into a haze of exhaustion. Her apartment felt like a cage, her savings dwindling. Job applications were rejected once Unity was mentioned. Her mother's health worsened, and debt loomed. But one afternoon, her phone buzzed with an unknown number. Hesitant, she answered. Nia, it's Thomas Reed, a frail but firm voice said. Stunned, she realized he'd survived and remembered her. I owe you my life, he said. I heard what happened. Meet me at attorney Laura Bennett's office tomorrow. A spark of hope flickered, though doubt lingered. Was this a lifeline or a trap? The next morning, Nia arrived at Laura Bennett's law office, a sleek building far from her rundown neighborhood. Polished floors and the scent of coffee greeted her. Thomas sat in a conference room, looking stronger, beside a sharp-eyed woman, Laura Bennett. "You saved me," Thomas said warmly. "You deserve justice." He explained his past as a powerful lobbyist, now fallen but still resourceful. Laura nodded, presenting documents exposing Unity's wrongs.
Their legal fight began, a quiet rebellion. Nia, Thomas, and Laura pored over evidence, uncovering Unity's discriminatory practices. Thomas's experience guided them, while Laura's legal expertise drove their strategy. They connected with bold journalists, building a network of allies harmed by the system. Their campaign shook Unity, with media exposing its injustices. Bennett retaliated with smear campaigns, targeting Nia and leaking her mother's medical records. Her apartment was vandalized, a clear warning. Yet, they pressed on. Nia filmed secret testimonies from former patients and staff, funded by Thomas's remaining savings. When their video expose went viral, Bennett's rage erupted, but public outcry grew louder. Protests erupted outside Unity, and Nia felt relief. She wasn't alone anymore. The fight escalated into a class action lawsuit, with Nia as the lead plaintiff. In court, she bared her soul, recounting that night and her brother's death. Thomas's testimony, bolstered by his past influence, hit hard. The judge's verdict stunned. The courtroom, Unity and Bennett, were guilty of discrimination and violations. Bennett's empire crumbled. He was forced to resign. Nia was reinstated with compensation, as was Thomas. Cheers filled the room as Nia embraced her allies, tears of triumph falling. Unity faced restructuring, and their case sparked further lawsuits. Nia returned to nursing, now a symbol of change. Though tensions lingered among some colleagues, others saw her as a hero. She used her compensation to secure top care for her mother, her recovery Nia's greatest reward. She also funded organizations fighting healthcare inequity. Her bond with Thomas and Laura grew familial, their shared mission enduring. Nia became a speaker, inspiring others with her story. She and Thomas founded the Fair Care Fund, advocating for equity. Her voice, once silenced, now echoed widely, carrying a message of resilience and hope. Join us to share impactful stories. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for daily inspiration.